4 News.
And welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us here at ABC4. Today we're talking about drought conditions ramping up again this summer and if Utahns are watering their lawns too much. So joining me now via Zoom is Rob Sobey, who's an assistant professor of civil and construction engineering at BYU. Thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you.
Yes, of course. Always that little bit of a pause, right? So you can first, if you don't mind, start off by sharing more on the latest research on water here in Utah that you've been doing.
Yes, we examined water bills, secondary water bills from thousands of customers in 2 Utah County cities. These were anonymous secondary water bills for water used outdoors, and paired that information with information collected from aerial images of these customers' landscapes. And we used that information to assess how much water was used, how big the irrigated areas are, and how healthy the landscapes are. So we had this great portrait of how people are using water, how much, how big the areas are, and how healthy the grass is.
Okay, this is absolutely fascinating. So from that, we're interested to know just what those findings were. One of the questions would be, how would someone know if they're watering too much? Did you see a lot of that?
Yes, one of the main findings of the study is that there's this optimum point for watering. As you apply more water, there's a point where as you apply water, the grass gets healthier, but only up to a certain point. If you water too much, it starts to degrade in quality. And finding that optimum point is hard to do, but we can follow advice from the Utah Division of Water Resources weekly lawn watering guide that tells us in certain conditions, they update it every week, how frequently to water, what cycles, what timing, etc. We can also optimize our irrigation schedules with devices and technology like smart timers, smart controllers that forecast the weather and sense soil moisture conditions to take some of the guesswork out of that watering. In our study, we found that about half of the water users were on the wrong side of that optimum point, overwatering their lawn without getting any benefit out of it.
That is absolutely fascinating. It makes us all, I hope all of us, are questioning, are we watering too much? Okay, so tell us then, real quick too, are there certain signs that you can say, yeah, we're watering too much? Can you answer that?
It is hard to know. Just by looking at the grass, you can't tell. That's why we recommend following the lawn watering guide and using some of the technology to find out if you're doing that.
Okay.
Poorly watered grass often looks the same as overwatered grass, which is why you need to look a little more carefully at it.
Okay, this is so interesting. So what is the current state of the water supply in Utah? I feel like that is something we should always be checking in on because it's changing. We have rainfall, but then we have a stretch without rain. So what is the current
That's
supply?
Right. On a day like this, coming out of a wet weekend, it's hard to remember that we're in a drought. But we have to keep in mind that one storm or even several storms does not make up for 2 or 3 or 4 bad water years. So even in wet years, we have to have this steady mindset of conservative water use so we don't always have to react to these extreme conditions that come upon us from season to season. So we are in a very severe state of drought in the West and in Utah in particular. Lake Powell and the Great Salt Lake hit their lowest levels in the past year. We have more people and less water in Utah than we've had in a while. And unless we do something different, that trend will continue.
Okay, Rob, I could talk to you all day about this because I feel like it is something we just really need to each and every one of us be aware of. Real quick, we only have about 30 seconds. What are some simple things residents can do every day to just really help the state maintain the sufficient water for the most important needs?
Do what you can do in the water use that you control. Don't worry about what other people are doing or not doing with their water use. Take responsibility for what's yours, your lawn, your garden, your car washes, your kitchen sink, your leaks, etc. Just do what you can to be a good steward of our water resources.
I love that. Thank you so much again. Rob Sobey, an assistant professor of civil and construction engineering at BYU. We appreciate your time here today. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thomas.